good day, and welcome to yet another straight up program with myself, Grant. It's good to have your company today, and I am honored and privileged to have my guest on the program today. He's a church leader. He is a well-known musician, recording artist, in fact, who comes from Chicago. We may welcome Bishop Dan Willis. Hello, sir. How are you?
Thank you so much, Brother Grantley. Thank you for this opportunity.
Welcome
I'm
to the
super
UK.
excited. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very excited, and thank you for the opportunity.
You're
I'm
more than
so
welcome, sir.
grateful. Thank
You're
you, sir.
welcome. So
Thank
you're
you.
here in the UK, and a little birdie told me that you were coming, and I took the opportunity to reach out, and we need to highlight you because you're no stranger to the UK. Am I right? About 20 years
correct.
ago. About 20
Yes.
years ago, you came to the UK and you recorded an album.
Yes, we did.
2003, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Live in London. I was still with Ty Scott Records at that time. I was
Wow.
the only white boy on America's oldest black gospel label.
Bishop Scott. Bishop
Yes,
Scott.
Dr. Leonard Scott.
Yeah,
Yes, and
that's
I
my
was
man.
on Ty Scott. I recorded 5 projects for Ty Scott back in the days with John P. Key and Rodney Bryant. Some of those.
What?
So, yes. Well, the choir's name was Pentecostals of Chicago at that time, and I had this dream and vision to come to London with the choir. I brought 100 choir members, and we recorded live in London.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That must have been something though, because 100.
It was something financially, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you guys took over the whole plane.
Yes, it was a lot of money, but it was so much fun, and we just I loved it, and that's why I'm super excited to be back this weekend with our next. It's been 20 years since we've recorded, and so I'm super happy to be back this weekend, and thank you for this opportunity to get to talk
No
to
problem.
all of your wonderful viewers and listeners. I'm so grateful.
Bishop, you've got a wonderful CD that's been out in America for a little while now, and we will get to that. We will get to that. But I do want to shed some light on you as a person, where you're coming from. Tell us. I know that the choir and the church, Lighthouse Church, is in Chicago. Were you brought up in Chicago? Tell us about where you're coming from.
Oh yes, I'm a Chicago kid. So here now listen, I'm a talker. So you just shut me up when you're ready because here's the story. The story is pretty interesting. So I was a 16-year-old kid on the south side of Chicago, and I'm a church kid. All I knew was singing, shouting, praising God, falling out. That's all I knew. And when I was about 12 or 13 years old, I went to Bishop Arthur M. Brazier, 63rd in Dorchester, Apostolic Church of God, and I heard gospel music pretty much for the first time. And I'd grown up in this wonderful little Caucasian church. And so when I was 12, 13, I went to Bishop Brazier's and I heard blessed assurance. And I never, after that, I couldn't go back to my little Caucasian church and sing blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. I couldn't do it anymore. And that began my journey of gospel music. And I would be this white kid on the front row of all these churches for 4 o'clock musicals on first Sundays going around. And so gospel music just became so passionate for me. But when I was 16 years old, I was already graduated from high school. I was leaving for medical school.
Yeah.
And we were in a little storefront church with about 15 people. And we lost our pastor. There was no money. There was no, and so he was gone. We'd only been meeting for about 4 or 5 weeks. And one little old lady who's resting in heaven now, she said, well, Dan has the gift of speak. Now, first of all, when she said that, I was flattered. I didn't know what she meant. I was 16. I later found out she said she meant it was a white boy full of hot air who didn't know when to shut up. And she said, he's got the gift of speak and he can hold us together. Wait till you hear this, Brother Grantley. She said, he's got the gift of speak and he can hold us together till we get a real pastor.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
for 46 years, would you believe We've been looking for a real pastor. But
And
it's 46 years, and we grew from it. I don't know how this happened. We grew from 15 people to 6,000, the largest
my
multicultural church,
goodness.
yeah, in all of Chicago, 72 nations represented. It's the largest multicultural. And gospel music was the glue. You know, many times pastors don't get this when I say this, but I think your listeners and viewers will understand. In my darkest hours, it was not a sermon that kept me. I couldn't even remember my own sermons, let alone anybody else's in the midnight hour. It was a song. It was a song that would keep me to the faithfulness of God and keep me grounded. That's why gospel music has been my anchor, and it must have worked. I am 46 years married to the same wife, pastoring the same church, and it grew from 15 to 6,000. So, gospel music has been an anchor, and that's so I signed with Ty Scott Records back in the early 90s and recorded 5 projects with them. And from that point on, after we recorded 5, we started our own record label, Asone Sound Music. And this is our first CD recording, our first project in 20 years,
Wow.
because we've been pretty busy. Our church was exploding and growing, moved through 5 different building programs. And so it was time for me. We just burned a $10 million mortgage in Chicago, became a debt free ministry. And I
Wow.
said, it is time for me to go back to music with the choir. We always had a choir. In fact, my mantra is this: pastors, bring back the choirs. Newsflash, the pandemic is over. Bring back those choirs. People want that
They
choir.
do. They really do.
Yes, there's nothing like it. I grew up during the Hawkins family days. Was there anything like Love Center Choir? I mean, choir, choir is it. And so even during the pandemic, we always had a choir. We never did not have a choir. Even if it was by Zoom, we had a choir because that was just in my spirit. And that's the music I write is for choir. And so that's how we got here. And now, 20 years later, the project has just been released in America, and it's on all digital downloads, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your digital music. And I'm in, would you believe God blessed me to come to your fair city, to London, to release this project this weekend? So
Wow.
I'm like, I'm so excited. Look how cheesy my smile
I
is right
know, I know. You're like the cat. You're like the cat that got the crown.
now. I am.
Bishop Dan. How many members did you bring with you this time? Was it as much as 100, or was it a little bit
No.
less than
So
that?
you know what you know, there's one beautiful thing about maturity. I never say older, I say mature. I'm just mature for my age.
Right.
And you learn to work smarter, not harder. So what we've done, there's 100 voices in our choir. It's a huge choir.
Yeah.
So what we did was I put together something that I call the music sermon group. And I preach a literal sermon with our new material
Yeah.
with a group of 12. And
Okay.
that's what I travel with is a group of
A
12.
group of 12.
We're the workhorses. We do all the work. And the 100 voices are back home in Chicago, but I'm here with 12 singers, and we were in Dublin, Ireland last night. So we flew from Dublin, Ireland here at 4 o'clock this morning, 5 o'clock this morning, and getting ready for all our concerts this weekend here. But we had so much fun in Dublin. So this is our international release. And I'm getting to talk to Grantley on your show for my international release. So I'm
Bishop,
so
I am
humbled.
so pleased for you guys. I could just imagine the rest of the choir back in Chicago,
Oh,
proper cheerleading and saying, "My God, go Bishop, go!"
oh yeah.
So,
And
so
they all wanted to be here. Of course
of
they want to be
course,
here.
who
So
wouldn't?
I'm having to eat fish and chips every day in honor of them.
And drinking cups of tea.
I have to take one for the team. What can I do?
Nice one. So listen, the album is it's a fabulous album. It's called Live in Chicago. When
Yeah.
was it recorded, Bishop?
We just recorded, we just actually have just released it in the last few weeks. And the project we've as you so it's all our choir, it's all our band, It was produced by Phil Feaster, Grammy Award winning Phil Feaster.
Yep.
And we only brought in a couple of soloists. Otherwise, it's all our soloists, all our singers. We brought in Wess Morgan, who sings on one song.
Yep. No Wes.
Uh, yes. And then do you know Willie Moore Jr.?
I do.
Willie Moore Jr. wrote a song for us and sings with the choir. And so the rest is all our choir, our minister of music, Bridgette Campbell Hurt, and her husband, Bryan Hurt. They wrote music. I wrote music. And so it's an aggregate. You know, it'll take you back to, in fact, the single that you're playing, I'll Recover All. Oh my God. Let me tell you about this single. This single would remind you of the Hawkins family. I really believe that. And it talks about coming out of everything we've just come through. And rather than just sitting by the wayside and giving up and saying, my life will never, this is my new normal, and all the crazy stuff I hear people say. No. Do you know that David, when he was at Ziklag, he inquired of the Lord what to do? And the Lord said, pursue, overtake, and recover all. And that's still the mantra that God gives to us today. Pursue. Don't just sit down and give up. I know we've been through some rough stuff, but we made it out alive, kids. We made it out. So pursue, overtake. And this song says, recover all. And Sister Marlene, a lady in our church that sings, she don't just sing this. Grantley, she delivers this song. And it's just, I think, I don't know, maybe I can say because I'm in London and maybe nobody back home will know that I said this, but I think it's my favorite song on the
Oh
entire
my gosh.
project. Yeah, I'm serious. It's just, it's that good. It's
Wow.
I'll Recover All, and it will really anchor you and help you go get your stuff back. Now, you don't want everything back. There's some folks, some things you don't want back.
Yeah.
I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say a couple of years ago, there's one spiritual gift we all need to have that most of us don't have, and it's the gift of goodbye. That we need to know when the gift of goodbye. We need to let
You
it
need
go
to get rid of
sometimes.
some stuff to get some stuff
Let,
back, right?
come on here. And so you don't want to reclaim everything, but
Not
your
everything.
children, your money, your mental health, this song speaks to that. I'll
Yeah.
recover all. So it was worth, it was worth coming to London, England because of that song right there. For
Absolutely.
me to come here and just be able to share it with I met so many people and friends here in London 20 years ago when we recorded, and have been back, several different times. In fact, I'm preaching tomorrow at Bishop John Francis
Ruach
Church.
Ministries. Yeah. Ruach City Church.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to be there. So I have great friends here in London, and so that's why I had to come back.
Absolutely brilliant. The album is available online, all good download stores and streaming platforms, all the regular places. It's called Live in Chicago, and the album. Okay, I was just reading up on this, and some of the producers on the album are just absolutely out of this world. Philip
Thank God.
Fraser, Jonathan McReynolds, Fred Hammond produces on the album as well. My goodness, my goodness.
Yeah.
You're the executive producer on the album.
Yes,
Just a
sir. Yes.
fantastic album. Here's the thing. You said something earlier on about choirs coming back to the fore.
Yeah.
There are certain songs, right, Bishop, that only a choir can deliver
Right.
and cuts right to the core of what these important subject matters are,
That's
whether
it.
it's to do with mental health or, just hard times that we go through
Yeah.
and bringing us into the presence of God. We do need choirs to come back just like they were 5, 10 years
Yes.
ago, where
Yes.
you would put on a
Yes.
function and you'd have a couple of choirs and the whole
Yeah.
place would just erupt.
Go up. Go up. Well, there's nothing like the scripture being fulfilled of Psalm 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And what bespeaks that more than an aggregate music group of multiple choir members taking the stage to lift up the name of Jesus? Nothing. I, I love praise teams. We have multiple praise teams. Praise God, nothing wrong in praise teams got a lot of churches through during this pandemic. But I'm telling you, there's nothing like choir and gospel choir, and so I'm on a mission. I'm in London hollering, bring back the choir, bring back the choir.
We've got some terrific choirs here in the
Oh,
UK,
yes, you do.
and
Oh, my, yes, you do.
there's one that's celebrating 40 years. The
Really?
London Community Gospel Choir,
Oh,
Basil
yes,
Mead and
yes.
his son Leon Mead, who's now leading the choir. They're celebrating 40 years, and
Wow.
recently Donald Lawrence came to the UK. Um,
Oh, I love Donald.
it's funny, Bishop Dan. We seem to be a bit of a hub at the moment. Everybody wants to come to London.
Really?
Everybody wants to, yeah, because Hezekiah Walker's coming. I think on the 4th of November. He's going to be in Birmingham at the Bethel Centre. Uh, Donald Lawrence was here recently. People just love. What is it about the UK for you,
Well,
Bishop? What is it?
okay. So, will you not judge me if I tell you one thing? You know, us Americans, we have a thing about the romance of the palace and royalty and
Right.
all of that. So that I think that plays a little bit into it. But then, you know, London has produced so much rich music. I don't know if you're aware, but there was a great choir from London that made it all the way to the semifinals of America's Got Talent. And I think it was the last season.
Okay.
And it was a choir from London, England, came to America and made it to our semifinals of America's Got Talent.
Well,
So,
that's some going, I must admit.
yeah, yeah. So there's tremendous talent, gifting, musicians, singers here in London. And I think it's the passion. There's such passion for God and just passion for life. And it's urban. Urban communities produce the best gospel music.
Amen.
And so there's a lot of great things that make us as Americans, we just want to come and eat fish and chips and sing gospel music in
And drink
London
cups of tea.
and
All
drink
right,
cups
so
of tea. That's it.
let's talk a little bit about Lighthouse, your church. Um,
Yes.
Tell us about how you integrated into the church, because you said you've been with them for a while now. How did that all happen, and who's like the senior pastor? Tell us about that.
Well, I have been the senior pastor for 46 years.
Okay.
I just moved into the role of bishop. I travel with Pastor Benny Hinn. And so
Yes.
Pastor Benny Hinn just anointed me as bishop, in fact, just recently. And we installed a new senior pastor because I'm on the road a lot. So, but I'm there. I've been there 46 years, since, as I said, since I was 16 years old, grew it from 15 people to 6,000 members today.
6,000.
72 nations represented, the largest multicultural church in all of Chicago. So, yeah, it's Lighthouse Church is an aggregate of red, yellow, black, and white. And it is truly amazing because I'll tell you this, Brother Grantley, we're on the south side of Chicago. Now, I know that you're aware of the news that comes out of Chicago, all of the
Yes.
homicide.
Yeah.
We had 356 children alone shot this year. 26 of those babies died.
My
There's so
God.
much warfare, guns, and everything in Chicago. And we're on the south side of Chicago. We're in the nitty gritty. Anybody that tells you they're from Chicago and they're not from the south side, they're not really from Chicago. We're from Chicago. And so our church has been really, really engaged in. We feed 4,000 people a month in our food pantry.
Wow.
Yeah, we have lots and lots of programs, strong youth programs, children's programs, because so many that call Lighthouse Church their home, so many of them come from broken places, broken homes. And so Lighthouse is a place of mending and healing. And so Lighthouse it's really its namesake. It's a lighthouse
It's
in
a
Chicago.
beacon. It
It's a
is a
beacon.
lighthouse.
Yes, sir.
And I'm proud to hear you say that you are the senior pastor that is, you know, leading a multicultural church.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about some of the people, some where they come from. What we say multicultural, but give us some breakdown
That's
so
a
we
great
have a good
question.
understanding.
That's a great question. Lighthouse Church draws members from 4 states I guess we say it's worth the drive. So we have people that come from, of course, Illinois, where we're from, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan,
Right.
4 states in the Midwest that drive in. Our farthest member, one of our assistant pastors, you're not going to believe this, Grantley, he drives 300 miles from Detroit, Michigan.
What?
Yes, he's
Oh
one
my.
of our assistant pastors. Yes. He works in Motor City. He's one of our assistant pastors, and not for 3 or 4 weeks, for years and years and years.
My God.
So we have a strong church with longevity. One of my big mantras is stability. You know, God has called his people to be stable. And it seems like we live in such a transient kind of world, and it's creeped into the church where people they just come and go. And the Bible says, though you have 10,000 teachers, you have not many fathers. So I think it is so important for fathers to be stable and to raise up
Mm,
churches and next generations that are stable. So one of the things that I've really, really focused on, we have our own Bible school on campus.
okay.
And yeah, we raise up our own leaders. Our pastors have to go through 4 years of our Bible college to be ordained. So they're not just ordained as a pastor. They've been through 4 rigorous years. Our curriculum it's a beast. Let me tell you, they have to really go through it.
Yeah.
So we do that because it helps create that environment of stability. So, stability is a very stalwart part of our congregation. All of our leaders have been, many, many, if not most of our leaders, have been with me at least 20 years. Um, our 3 senior assistant pastors, I have 3 senior assistant pastors, they've all been with me near 40 years. So stability is a big, big thing. Our youth pastor, I dedicated him to the Lord at birth when he was born.
Wow.
Now
Look at
he's
that.
grown up and he's our youth pastor. So we have a rich history of me teaching about stability. 1 Corinthians 15:58, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. I tell people this: don't look for a reason to leave your church, look for an excuse to stay.
Yeah.
Be
Because
stable.
famine, it's great to hear you say what you're saying, Bishop, because I know of plenty churches where people, it's like a revolving door.
Oh my. And that's
Yeah.
not just here. That's not in London. That's all over the world. And it was exacerbated during the pandemic.
Yeah.
People just lost their stability. And so I'm on a mission. Bring back choirs and sit yourself down, sit your behind down somewhere
Sit
and
down.
be stable. Sit down somewhere and be stable. Come on now. Everybody can't displease you. There's
Yeah.
got to be somebody somewhere that is, that you can be able to for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I'm talking about commit to for the rest of your life in ministry so we can get some stuff accomplished. And it takes
I would be
stability.
interested to hear from you, Bishop, on the subject of growing men in your church, because
Oh,
a lot of
major.
a lot of churches, right? A high percentage of churches are mainly women.
Correct.
Is that the case for you guys? And how do you accomplish, targeting men to come into the church? Because let's
Man,
face it, right? It's not until men come to Christ that we start to develop real men in this world, right?
that's right. Well, you're asking absolutely tremendous questions. And sometimes I'm almost like I'm scared to tell the truth on this subject
Tell
because
the
so
truth,
many
Bishop.
so
Tell it.
many churches are so well, there wouldn't be a church if there weren't for females. We all know that. There wouldn't even be a church. My hat is off. Thank God for every female pastor, every female leader, every female church mother, every female in the church. There wouldn't be a church. Somehow, I guess because of my stability, we broke the mold. Our church is so male oriented, male driven, male heavy. Most churches you walk in and it's so heavy female. If you walk into our church, you would not believe it. It is so heavily populated male. Thank God for every lady that is there. But we realized years ago we had to develop a men's ministry. We developed a standalone men's prayer meeting.
Yeah.
We have men's groups, men's outings. We stay very focused. And our men's pastor, again, stability. He's been our men's pastor for at least 35 years. So
Wow.
he's so stable. And he doesn't wait to be told. He spots a new member at church or a new man. He's on it. He's on it. He's a self-starter. And so that's why I said I'm almost embarrassed because we're so male heavy that I never want anybody to mistake it in a bad light of, that's any slam or aspersion against anybody, any female, because it's not. Somehow God helped us to figure out how to break the mold a little bit, and I'm so grateful. But what you do is you do with who God gives you. You work with what God's given you. It's like some people always are waiting on they're always waiting on this to happen or that to happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen where you are. Get in your own church choir. Quit waiting for Kirk Franklin or Yolanda Adams to call you to be backup dancers and singers. Sing in your own church choir for the next 4 Sundays on time. Be on time. Pay your tithes. Show up to rehearsal. Be there 4 weeks straight. Just try this little experiment. And if you become stable, people listen to you. I don't take diet advice from people who've never lost any weight. I don't I don't take financial advice from people who are broke. And I don't take marriage advice from people who've been unstable. I don't take church leadership advice from people who, want to tell you, but how long did you stick with it? There's a stickability
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
got to
say.
come back to us.
Yeah.
And men are a huge part of our ministry.
There's a ton of women that are saying, can we get Bishop to give us the full address so that we can get so that we can get over? Where's your church? So give us the exact location, Bishop.
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. The men are at 4501 West 127th Street in Alsip, ALSIP. It's the south side of Chicago, Illinois, 60803. Lighthouse Church. Come on down, ladies.
Come on
There's some of
down.
there's some of them looking for a wonderful, wonderful wife.
So
And they
Bishop,
love they want now, full disclosure,
yeah.
a couple of them I personally know, they want the British accent. So come on,
Oh,
ladies.
okay. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Right. So Bishop, you're gonna be preaching at Ruach in the morning.
Yes.
Do you already know what you're going to be preaching about, or you just waiting
Oh
to hear from
yes, of
God?
course.
Tell us.
Of
Tell
course.
us. Give us the
I'm gonna
news.
I'm gonna be preaching on the three friends you must have to have success. I'm gonna preach from John 11 about Mary and Martha with their brother Lazarus. They had success. They got a dead man raised.
Wow.
There's three friends that
Praise
oh
God.
God, there's three friends you must have in order to have success. And I'm going to preach about those three friends. I bet you're going to ask me, what's those three friends?
Tell me the three friends.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, but you got to keep it a secret till tomorrow in
Okay.
London.
All
Okay.
right.
Number one, you've got to have a mentor. Jesus was the mentor to Mary and Martha and them. But a mentor is not always up close and personal. You have to be okay with having a mentor you've never even shook their hand.
What?
Oh yeah, traveling with Pastor Benny Hinn, you can't believe how many times people, Lord Jesus, they want to get to me so they can get to him.
Hmm.
They think if I can get to Bishop Dan, I can get to Pastor Benny. And I tell people all the time, listen, if you really want him to mentor you, a mentor is not always up close and personal. You can have a mentor you never even meet. You can see them from afar. Your pastor you may never go out to lunch with, but learn from his life, listen to him. So the first person you must have to have success is a mentor, and not somebody who's up close and personal. That's a relationship. Do you want a relationship or do you want a mentorship? Which one do you want? And so you have to make that decision. You want a mentor. And the second one, the second person that you have got to have, you'll make me tell you all this,
Yes,
Grandin.
Bishop, you got to lay it on me. Listen, there's somebody, because this is going to go out tonight, right? There's
My
somebody.
Lord, have
This is going
mercy.
out. This is going out tonight. So there's somebody that's going to
They
listen.
might not
That's
come to
going
hear
to.
me
They're going
preach.
to come to church tomorrow because of what you're saying right now. All right. So lay it on us, thick.
Second one.
The second person.
I'm going to tell you right now. You're making me preach this whole
I'm
thing
making you preach.
from John chapter 11. I'm going to just, brothers and sisters, I'm going to turn right now to the book of John, the 11th chapter
Chapter.
and the 19th verse. And I'm going to preach to you on this show right now about, about the three friends that you must have in order to have success in your life. You're making me get you making me
I'm making
make me
you
get the whole
dig
Bible
deep.
out here right now. And I'm not going to read John 11:19. You got to read it for yourself. But the second, okay, all joking aside, the second one you got to have a peacemaker in your life.
Yeah.
Everybody can't be telling you, girl, throw your shoe at them, go get them, cut their tires. Everybody in your life cannot be pushing you to aggression. You've got to have somebody in your life that tells you, yes, it looks like Jesus is 4 days late, Martha and Mary, but I'm going to tell you, when he gets here, even dead stuff, hey, even dead stuff lives. You've got to have somebody who's a peacemaker in your
Mm.
life. And the third one that you've got to have.
Hold on, Bishop. Hold
Oh
on.
Lord, you're
Hold
trying to
on.
get the whole
Hold
thing.
on. Hold on. Hold on. If you want to hear the third thing,
Ah,
you've got to get over to React.
yes, because the third one is oh my God, yeah.
I, I thought to myself, you know what? Let's just draw breaks on the first and the second. The third one, you've got to get to church tomorrow. You've got to get to
Yes,
church.
yes, yes,
Simple as that. Simple as that.
yes, yes,
So,
yes. So
Bishop,
you got to have a mentor.
we're looking forward to the live in Chicago. You know, playing it on air because we've got our own radio
Amen.
station and everything as well.
Amen.
And so we're looking forward to playing some of the tracks. Tell us the single that we should be playing. The name of the single.
Oh my goodness. Play I'll recover all.
I recover all.
I'll recover all. Oh my goodness. And get ready to go snatch back your children, your money, your joy. Get ready to go snatch it all back. After everything the devil done put you through, go get it back, child. Get it
Amen.
back. It
Amen.
belongs to you. It don't belong. The wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just.
I said that to somebody yesterday.
Come on here.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
it's yours.
The
Go get it.
wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just, right?
That's it. And
Go
the
get it
kingdom of
back.
heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force.
Force.
And not militant. That's not
Yeah.
the force,
Yeah.
but in prayer. Get stable. Get a prayer life. Learn how to get a prayer through. Get on the front row at church. Get off the back row. Get up on the front row. And and do it. Do it. Take it all back. So this song, I'll Recover All. I'm so grateful for you playing it. Thank you, sir.
No problem at all. Bishop, thank you so much for being my guest on the show today. I
My
really do
pleasure.
appreciate you. Before you go, share your social networks because there's going to be somebody that's going to say, you know what, I need to get him back in the UK. Because I know you're only here for a few more days and then you fly back, right?
Yes, sir.
Share
Yes,
your
sir.
social networks with us so that we can get in contact with you.
Thank you so much. So if you just Google Bishop Dan Willis, you'll find we're everywhere. I'm on social media, Facebook, YouTube,
Instagram.
Twitter, Instagram, everything. And the church is Lighthouse Church of All Nations. And my website is danwillis.org,
Yeah.
and you can find everything there. But if you just Google Bishop Dan Willis, you'll probably get more than you wanted. So there you go.
Bishop Dan Willis, thank you so much for being our guest on the program today. I really do
Thank you,
appreciate you.
Grantley.
And I'm
Thank you.
looking forward to playing your music. And
Amen.
I'm looking forward to welcoming you back into the UK. Hopefully, you won't stay away much longer than, don't be doing no 20-year span again. Okay. That's like
No more
every
of that.
2 years, every 1 year, you need to come back.
Thank you, sir. It's my high honor. And thank you for allowing me to be on your show. God bless everybody. And listen, recover all.
Recover all. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Stay
sir.
right there. Stay right there. So, my guest on the program today, Bishop Dan Willis, and his new album is available right now for you to go and download and stream on all the regular platforms. You know which ones they are. Look out for the album. It's called Live in Chicago. If you enjoyed today's program, please consider liking, leave a comment, and please subscribe to the channel as well. For myself, Grantley, take care, and we can check out one of these videos afterwards. Take care now. God bless you.